White House. This is a very dramatic narrative. And they're saying in Washington that this was an act of war. Let me repeat, Tucker. They are saying this was an act of war. So whether or not it's true is existential. Are we at war? Right. I got interested in this, not because it's my expertise, but because one of the things I've studied for 40 years is Russian leadership. I've written biographies. I got interested in Putin. I'm writing about Putin, a long piece now. So I looked into it to see if it made sense that Putin could have or did do such a thing. And I can find not one piece of factual evidence. The only evidence ever presented was a study hired by the Clintons, the DNC, to do an examination of their computers. They concluded the Russians did it. Their report has fallen apart. The question is why the FBI decided to use that private cyber, kind of private detective, let's say, as though the New York police department had decided for a murderer to hire a private detective. Why the FBI didn't do their own investigation? That's all we have.
That's all we have, and yet night after night, I get people on both sides, Republicans as well, saying 17 U.S. intelligence agencies, by the way, that would include Coast Guard intelligence, I guess they're on this too, have concluded that the Russian government was behind this. Have they not concluded that?
They say that, but it's bogus. When Clapper, the head of whatever it's called, Director of National Intelligence, signed that report in January, technically he represents all 17. I'll bet you a dime to a nickel you couldn't get a guest on, unprepared, who could name 10 of them. This figure 17 is bogus. But the point here is critical. The one agency that could conceivably had done a forensic examination on the Democratic computers is the National Security Agency. We learned from Snowden, they're in your computer, mine, our e-phones.
Yes.
Everybody else who signed that report said they were highly confident. The NSA said it was only moderately confident. You don't get married based on moderate confidence. You don't go to war with Russia. You don't stage this theater that's going on in Washington that which could destroy a presidency. But there's one other thing, and let me leave you with this. When they admit they have no evidence, they fall back on something else, which I think is very important. They say Putin directed Russian propaganda at us and helped elect Trump. I don't know about you, Tucker, but I find that insulting. Because the premise they're putting out in Washington this hearing is that the American people are zombies or lambs that'll find, I'm mixing my metaphors, any Judas goat anywhere Putin leads them. It's the premise of democracy that we're democratic citizens, that we have a BS detector in us, and we know how to use it. But they're telling us at Washington, I mean, like what Rubio's telling us. I mean, every politician who loses elections here in America and in Europe is going to say it was hacked by Putin. And that's what Mrs. Clinton is saying.
And they've also never demonstrated, by the way, why Putin exactly would want Trump to win. Because Trump's for fracking? I mean, it doesn't... Anyway, Professor, thank you for that. And I think it's worth... I don't know the truth, but I do think it's worth asking these questions. And I appreciate your doing that.
Why Donald Trump won the election. Donald Trump won so he could keep the baby boomers, the older generation, in check, the ones that may retire with nothing, the ones that are seeing the highest transfer of wealth in the history of the world, massive, massive income inequality in America, and we see it sometimes too in other parts of the West. We see extremism on both sides of the coin. Angela Merkel definitely is a puppet. Merkel equals 64. Order of chaos equals 64. The Zionist bankers that control the politicians, Israel, Zion, synagogue of Satan, both equal 64. Now, Donald Trump, after all, was born in the year 46. Chaos equals 46. These far-right nationalists are going to play into the hands of Russia and Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin may lead the way for World War III. And his goal is to make Russia the major power in the East and in that region of the world. Vladimir Putin crafting Donald Trump's victory, as well as Alex Jones, every single agent within the Zionist order. Vladimir Putin, he is 64 years old this year. He was 64 years old. He turned 64 before the election. Donald Trump won the election. President Donald J. Trump equaling 64, as well as Freemason. And Putin being 64 years old, Israel and Zion both equal 64. So Vladimir Putin is trying to make Russia the #1 superpower in the world. Russia is #1, is going to specialize in raw materials. Russia is going to be trading raw materials with multiple countries throughout the world. And Marine Le Pen is going to play a key role to incite fear and paranoia, to create another 9/11, to pass a massive Patriot Act in Europe. We had our own Patriot Act in America. This is what Le Pen and other far-right leaders in Norway, Sweden, whatnot, the rise of these far-right movements. And going back to Angela Merkel, right? Merkel equaling 64. She was Chancellor of Germany since 2005. For a whole decade, she was encouraging unlimited immigration. This unlimited immigration is part of the globalist plans, okay? Make the rich corporations wealthier and incite fear into the older population. This is part of their massive plan to upset this older generation, to get them to support war and to support Islamophobia. This is going to play into World War III. It has played into our conflicts in Afghanistan and Iraq. There is no Rothschild central bank in Iran, in Syria, in North Korea. These are the ones that the Zionist bankers are trying to take over. The Rothschild bankers use a system of fiat money and creation of debt to lend the governments and perpetual warfare to maximize their profits. Going back to my calculator once again, they're all ruled by the number 88. Vladimir equals 88, Trump equals 88. They're all part of the Zionist order. The Zionist order equals 88. Brexit happened on the 29th of March, as you see right there. But March the 29th is the 88th day of the year. Vladimir, Trump, the Zionist order, both all equal 88. Brexit, what that is doing, Britain subsidizes quite a bit of countries in Europe. The EU is key to navigate commerce in Europe. Yes, I agree, there's too much bureaucrats, okay, that are making choices for Norway and whatnot, and you cannot have that, and there is definitely half-truths. And the EU, a one denomination, the euro, makes it easy to navigate commerce throughout Europe. Too much socialism in Europe is what causes them to get in so much debt. But that does play into the bankers' hands. Having one of the 4 highest economic powers of the world, Britain, leave the EU, is all systematically designed to facilitate the economic crisis in Europe. Vladimir Putin, once again, his war against the West, invade Crimea, invade Ukraine. Vladimir Putin, his end game is to destroy the EU and destabilize Europe. So it's Russia that emerges as the #1 superpower. This is Vladimir Putin's master plan. Brexit was orchestrated through Article 50. Article 50 Article 50 gave Brexit the authority to leave. This 50 is really significant part of the globalist plans. Donald, the President of America, equals 50. Xenophobe, once again, the fears of the older generation against immigrants. Not true, okay? The CIA and the military-industrial complex, they fund terrorism, okay? So the big cats make all the money. This is what America is, one giant corporation. Angela Merkel, equaling 52, she facilitates the movements of immigrants to create unrest in Europe. Now, Le Pen is part of the French National Front, and she is a pawn of Vladimir Putin. She visited Vladimir Putin at the Kremlin March 24th, right before Brexit. She met with Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin wants to put these far-right movements in power so they can leave the EU and so they can systematically destruct Europe economically. This is his grand master plan for Vladimir Putin. And this is the Zionist plans to encourage and incite right-wing propaganda to kick off a world war in the Middle East. Now the National Front, the party that is running Le Pen, they are seeking Russian cash for the election. That is true. Putin is helping out these groups. Putin is controlled by the Zionists. He's going to carry out the Zionist plans to create a crash in the EU. So Russia emerges on top. So there is a huge World War III coming up. This is what fear of immigrants is going to do for Europe. This is all crafted by these globalists. Now, what is really, really interesting, okay, Angela Merkel, she was born on August the 5th. Excuse me, Marine Le Pen was born on August the 5th. She was not born on August the 5th, but Marine Le Pen was born on August the 5th. The amount of time between the French elections on April the 23rd and her birthday is a time span of 105 days if you include the end date. 105 is the number of the Zionists. They revolve around the number 105. Putin wants to destroy the EU. He certainly does. Marine Le Pen said that she would have a French Brexit. Okay, let me type in Le Pen. So Marine Le Pen is going to create order and chaos in Europe. France is a really, really big country. If France leaves, if Britain leaves, that's less money going to other European nations. This is going to create a big economic catastrophe in Europe. Deception. EU, they want to stay in the EU so the globalists are happy. No, the globalists want to create more order, chaos, and confusion by setting the EU apart. This is playing into right-wing propaganda for World War III. This is what they want. They did that with Bush. This is all playing into their plans for a World War III. Now Trump is in the hands of the Kremlin. Trump's got a lot of financial ties to Russia in the Kremlin. WikiLeaks hacked the DNC in the Democratic Party. Trump aides had repeated contacts with Russian intelligence, and Jeff Sessions did speak with one also. And Theresa May was actually against Brexit. And Theresa May is just carrying on with the globalist plans. She says that she wants to reflect the will of the people, only if it's 52%. But she cannot keep Britain in the EU because she has to carry out the globalist plans, which is to create more chaos and confusion. Donald Trump had ties with Russian mobsters too, with rich Russian oligarchs. Many ties with Russia, funding from Russian investors because he cannot get a loan from an American bank. So Trump is in bed with Putin. He may have a $300 million conflict of interest with the Deutsche Bank, which failed to have proper internal controls with some of its loans to Russia. So this is all part of the grand
Deutsche Bank
master
finds itself
plan.
in the crosshairs
Master
yet again,
plan
this
equals
time involving
119.
its most
Donald Trump
high-profile client,
officially
U.S.
was announced the
President-elect
winner
Donald Trump.
November the
Bloomberg's
9th,
Harry Geiger, who
119.
covers abuses in the financial industry, joins us with a
Masonic-Zionist
look at what Germany's biggest bank is doing to rework its almost $300 million in loans to Mr. Trump ahead of the inauguration next month. And of course, this is not so much an abuse in the financial industry as an interesting conflict that's become more interesting because of the
Interesting with the number
That's
33
absolutely
once
correct.
again.
Nobody's done anything wrong here. It wasn't Deutsche
The
Bank's fault
Masons,
that one of its
secrecy,
clients was elected
Putin's
president of the
mission to
United States.
destabilize the
But it
European
brings up
Union
a
also
new
equals
question, something
133.
we've never had to discuss before. And this is
So this
how
is
does
all,
a bank
I have to say, the
manage a
Russian
relationship
Federation,
when that
President Donald J.
relationship
Trump,
is the
French
President of the
National
United States
Flag
and he
equals
owes that bank
Freemason
money?
equals 96.
These loans are personally
16 equals
guaranteed
96,
loans, so there is
33, the
some
events that have been happening in
personal, what's
16
called
and 17,
guarantors
the year
backing
16
these
and
loans.
17,
So it makes the
add
whole
up to
issue a little bit
33.
complicated. And then to
So to
compound
conclude,
the issue specifically for Deutsche
Vladimir
Bank
Putin is trying to
is this
destabilize
kind of
the West and
broad
the
ethical
EU, so
question of
Russia
Deutsche
is
Bank
trying
is
to emerge
facing more
as
than one investigation
the top
with the Department of
superpower in
Justice.
the
One is for
world,
mortgage-backed security
second to
sales, which
America.
everybody in Wall Street has had to deal with.
This economic
Another is how it dealt
crisis
with certain types of trading
in
operations
Europe
in
is
Russia.
going to create
And those are
another
still
economic
pending.
crash.
Those are still pending. We're
This
awaiting the
helps out the
outcomes of
bankers.
those. However,
They get
come January
bailouts,
20th,
these bankers,
a political
during these
appointee
economic
of Donald Trump's
crises,
choosing is going to be overseeing the
right-wing
Justice Department.
nationalists
So it
are
is
there
raising
to keep
questions
older
on
folks in
exactly
check,
how do
so they're
you
not
manage something
revolting
like
against
that,
the
and what are the
government.
optics of
If
something
there's
like
too
that?
much
What is the origination in the
groups in
background sort of
power,
the loans, just to kind of set
the
the scene
globalists
here? How
use
much is it in
left-wing
total?
groups
Do we know what they're used for?
flood
Were they, how long have they been there?
these
What is sort of the
countries
term
with
of
unlimited
the loans as they
immigration, like
stand right now?
what
So
Angela
Donald Trump's
Merkel is
relationship
doing.
with Deutsche Bank goes
The
back
right-wingers
almost 2
are there
decades. He's been a
to create
longtime client,
propaganda
despite a
and
couple
to
of pretty
incite
nasty
war.
legal dust-ups
And this
between
is
the two
what
of
they're
them.
doing after the attacks
It's about
in Brexit
$300 million
in Paris.
in debt, and these are
The
for all
globalists are trying
active,
to
successful projects. These are
orchestrate
golf
World
courses
War
in
III.
Florida. This is partially
Vladimir
from his hotel
Putin
in Washington,
is
D.C.,
trying to
which we know
destabilize
just opened.
the
So
EU,
these are,
and these
basically,
right-wing
these were
groups are there
vehicles to help
to
fund some
help
of those projects.
create
Most of
support
them
for
mature
World
in
War
at
III.
least,
After
I don't
all,
know,
Russia
8 to 10
is
years,
fighting
so they've
ISIS.
got, quite a
If
bit
the
of time
West
before the loans are actually
gets behind
going
Russia
to be
and
paid
America,
off.
it's
So
Russia
what's
that's
interesting,
going
I
to
guess,
reap
is
the
what
benefits.
could potentially go wrong
once
to
again,
sort of
these
think about
right-wing
why
groups
this
are
needs to be
playing to the
clarified. Because,
Zionist hands,
isn't,
trying
aren't the
to create
terms
another
basically out on paper?
crash,
It's not, or maybe
bail out the
they aren't, I
banks,
don't know.
get
What
these
could
far-right
possibly,
groups
I guess,
in
be
so
the
they can
situation that could
orchestrate
arise
a
in which
world war,
maybe it makes people
and
uncomfortable?
it is
where they say,
coming
all right,
really,
this is,
really
he's the
shortly.
president, he's got someone in charge.